Hello fellow collectors and welcome to Long's Toys. Today we are taking a look at Core Class Exo-Suit Spike Witwicky from the Transformers Studio Series from Hasbro. So Studio Series recently got into the Core Class. We previously had Shockwave and Ravage from the Bumblebee movie, and now we are seeing some characters from the 1986 classic Transformers the movie. I'm kind of hoping that maybe we get some like cassettes or some other cool characters from the movie that they could do in this size class, but only time will tell. Up here we have some nice artwork of Spike in his Exo-Suit. Close-up of him there on this side. Got the open packaging here so you can actually reach in and touch the figure. Got a nice big full body shot of Spike over on this side. And then over on the back we have the vehicle mode and the quote-unquote robot mode, I guess I'll call it. Even though he is technically a human. But yeah, I'm really excited for this one. I think this one's going to be pretty cool. Previously, the only Exo-Suit character we got was that weird, hardly movable Daniel that came with Grimlock. So it's nice to get a fully posable version of this suit. So I'm pretty psyched for this one. I'm going to go ahead, get him out of the packaging here, and we'll take a closer look. So here is Spike out of the packaging. I think he looks pretty good. I like him a lot, actually. They gave him a human likeness for once. It's not the most detailed, but certainly more than we're used to. Usually they just paint the entire dome white or silver because they don't want to deal with it. They actually did a pretty good job there. It's even got a little tab here on the back that you can rotate the head from side to side, so that's kind of cool. The dome itself can also rotate, but that's really more for the transformation. The shoulder does come mistransformed in the box, so it kind of has it up like this, but you want to rotate it down to give him a proper shoulder joint here. But if you want that articulation, it is there. Now he's got kind of a weird bicep elbow. I mean, normally you would think his elbow would be kind of down in this area, but he's kind of got like two forearms. So he's got this like elbow bicep joint that can kind of go a decent range of motion there. And then he's got this first forearm that can rotate, and then he's got a second rotation down here and kind of his second forearm. So it's a little wonky, but it makes sense for the transformation. I think it works. You can see the fist is painted a nice gray there. Doesn't have a waist articulation. I feel like there could have been a swivel there, but he doesn't really need it. Nice bit of articulation in the hip. You can kick all the way forward. You can kick all the way back. You can even kick pretty far out to the side. This gets in the way a little bit, but not much. You have a ball joint here in the knee, and then this is all one solid piece. The ankle tilt is kind of built in. But yeah, he looks really good. I like him a lot. And he scales with other Core Class figures. So here he is with Core Class Hot Rod, which makes no sense whatsoever, but he does scale with the other Core Class figures. And then I do, of course, have to bring in Daniel. Now, I misspoke earlier, so don't yell at me in the comments. I said he came with Grimlock. Of course, we all know he came with Slug. So please don't yell at me in the comments. But you can see how far we've come, because this thing was just kind of a mess. I mean, it had a ball joint in the hip there, but then the leg was completely hollow. It had a ball joint here and kind of the elbow, and then that was hollow. And like I said, they just paint the dome a solid color. So you can kind of see, you know, how far we've come in a relatively short amount of time. I guess they just didn't. I still don't know why these came with the Dinobots. I would have much rather had more accessories like swords, extra guns, something. These were just kind of felt like an afterthought, really. This is what they should have just given us. I didn't expect this to come packed with the Dinobots, but just don't even bother with this and just give me this. Because this is actually really good. Even if they wanted to just do this again, I mean, I know it would be difficult to make the head different enough to tell that it's Daniel, but just, like I said, never give me this and give me two of these and I'd be fine with it. But yeah, so honestly, because of the way this doesn't have a head, I just look at these as two yellow eyes, and then that slit is the mouth, and it just looks like a weird little robot to me. And once I've seen it, I can't unsee it, but here you go. Don't talk to me or my son ever again. Alright, so we got that out of the way. So we'll put him off to the side. But yeah, he looks good. He does come with some little effect pieces, which are pretty cool. Now, what you're supposed to do, if you remember, there's a scene in the movie where Daniel's trying to free like Cliffjumper, Jazz, Bumblebee, and Spike from being dropped in the lava, and he kind of transforms the Exo-Suit arm around, and then he blasts the lid, you know, because every person's digestive system would have a lid, but that's neither here nor there. So he kind of transforms around, and then he can fire, so you can go ahead and put the blast effect on there. And even though this kind of looks like a little gun, like he could keep his arm and just fire from here, This is kind of a more significant blaster. So I think that's kind of cool that you can rotate that around here and use that as kind of like a blaster. You can do the exact same thing with this later on in the vehicle mode, and it's kind of a thruster, but serves kind of a dual purpose. And they give you 2 of these, which is really nice. I think these actually look really good. And I think they, scale well with this and make sense. So I really like both of these a lot. So we'll swivel that back around. But yeah, let's go ahead. Let's get into the transformation. So as you might expect, he is a core class transformation, not too difficult. They have you rotate this around like this. I don't really know what purpose this serves. It doesn't really hide the human head. And when he did transform for 5 seconds in the movie, although it was Daniel who transformed, he kind of had the head looking forward. And of course, I understand that's not an option. So he can either like ride around looking straight at the ground, or he can ride around looking at absolutely nothing but this white plank here. So he's going to crash either way. But we're going to start off by just rotating this around. And then you can kind of bring the arms down, and you're going to want to rotate these back around like we had previously. So kind of bring that down, and then we'll just leave them there for now. We are going to come to the legs, and because he has these kind of notches here on the thighs, you can kind of bring this up, and it'll kind of not really peg in, but just kind of like logically, you'll hear like a click sound, almost like it's just kind of popping into place. And then he's actually got a second joint here. So I guess technically he's got double jointed knees if you think about it, because you can bring that back and then still use the ball joint, which we're going to do. We're going to rotate this around, and then you can see there's kind of these 2 little notches right here, and that is going to kind of tab into these little spots right here. So we bring this around, and then this kind of comes up and clicks into place, and you can almost kind of see how it's like beveled to meet the circular part of the lower leg. So we're just going to go ahead and do that. So we're going to bend this up, rotate this around all the way up, and then you can just push the 2 legs together, and there you go. So kind of make sure that that is straight. You're going to bend this up, rotate this at that first forearm, and then you can see that there's kind of like a little notch. It's really just where this joint is, but it kind of fits perfectly into this tab section here. So you're going to bring this in, and it just kind of pops in there. It doesn't really peg in like super snugly. It just kind of fits nicely in there. And that's really all you need it to do, because it's not like it's going to go flying around or anything like that. So we'll bring this in. That is going to pop in there. And there you go. There is your vehicle mode. Maybe I can bring this in a little bit more so that this sits a little bit more on the ground. But it rolls pretty decently. I'm just thinking about Spike in here and having to have, like, my arms don't bend that way. I just don't know. He's got to have his arms go back, up at an angle, and then switch his forearm around. I mean, that's going to hurt. When you transform, there's going to be some broken bones. But it works. You know, he's got the wheels built into the back of the legs over here, and then you got these wheels here in the front. And I think it's pretty cool. And like I said, if you really wanted, you could leave this like this. It really makes no difference. Just, you know, your preference. Again, we can bring those little effect pieces back in as thrusters now. So we will peg those back in, and now it can look like he's zooming along. So I think it's cool. I mean, like I said, we really only saw the Exo-Suit transform once for about 5 seconds in the movie when they're on the planet of junk. But there you go. You can recreate that 4 seconds of the movie if you just pretend this is Daniel. But yeah, it's fun. So I think this guy is actually pretty cool. I think they did a nice job. The color palette's good. Paint applications are simple, but they work. The human likeness is, again, simple, but it works. Certainly better than what we usually get. I mean, really, this whole figure is leaps and bounds above what we've had in the past. Ugh. So, yeah, I like this a lot. I wouldn't be surprised if they did this again as Daniel. I mean, you'd have to kind of just make the head look a little different, which could be kind of challenging considering it doesn't have a ton of detail, but I feel like it has enough. And, you know, they like to do repaints. They like to get use out of molds again. I mean, it seems like they're less concerned with repainting core class because we don't see a ton of core class repaints, but I feel like this would be a slam dunk to just do this again as Daniel. And I have to admit, I would probably pick it up. I'm actually having a lot of fun with this little guy. I think they did a pretty good job. And it's kind of fun because he kind of decently scales with the other Transformer toys that you have. Not really the other core class figures, but kind of the, you know, larger Voyagers and Leader class and things like that. So I think he's fun. I definitely recommend picking him up. I got mine from Hasbro Pulse. He has also kind of been going in and out of stock on Amazon, so I would definitely check those two places if you're trying to track this guy down. Otherwise, he should be showing up in stores somewhat soon. I know a lot of my stores still have a ton of Ravage and Shockwave, so they might be clogging the pegs for a little bit, but eventually they should be getting this guy fairly soon. So, yeah, like I said, I think he's fun. I really like the effect pieces, too, that they give him. I think that's really nice. I don't really have too much to complain about this guy, honestly. I think he's really just a lot of fun. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and as always, thanks so much for watching.